Okay, so Boomer walks in and he says, "Johnny, guess what I am for Halloween?" And Johnny looks at his father and he says, "Well, you're naked and drunk, Dad, like last year." Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am fat, I am naked, therefore this must be a naked blog, and we're obviously discussing something Halloween related, which I'm going to have to remind you that last Halloween I got termination notice. So I'm not exactly a happy camper when it comes to Halloween. And then, a couple Halloweens before that, I remember I didn't want to give out candy, and of course, I turned out every light in the house, tried to get to some sleep before work, and the little buggers just kept ringing the doorbell, ringing the doorbell. Come on, the lights are out. You guys don't figure out that if the doorbell's dark. Oh, I hate Halloween. And there's a train. There's much worse things out there though, so. Oh dear. It just won't stop. I bet you guys can't even hear it. It's just gonna bug me. Anyway, so what we're talking about here is I'm not going as anything. I'm gonna be. There's a cat. I'm gonna be fat for Halloween, so yeah. I'm not getting a costume. So we're discussing the perfect costume for Halloween. Let me think for a moment. Yes, perfect costume for Halloween. How about decent human being? You ever think of that one? That would be really great if people were decent human beings for Halloween. It's like, yeah, instead of going out there and knocking on people's doors, demanding candy or threatening them with, eggs and toilet paper, which is really weird now that I think of it. It sounds like some sort of bizarre sex torture. Anyway, so rather than going door to door and threatening people with eggs and toilet paper if they don't give you candy, why don't you do something decent for them? Why don't we get all these kids together and have them, I don't know, pick up litter on the beach or something? That seems like what one should do. That is the whole should thing. Should do for Halloween, go out and make the world better. Should not do for Halloween, sit there and demand candy, which will just make you fat anyway. Okay, so now, because that's not enough for a video, I'm going to tell you, the last time I wore a Halloween costume, like actually wore a Halloween costume, believe it was 2006, so 10 years ago, I was Antar the Ice King, and I will tell you why. Because it wasn't Halloween. It was something like July, or the months before, I forget which one anyway. It was the time people graduate from things, and someone I knew was graduating from college. I remember that distinctly because I knew a guy who was coming home from the army, and I said, you know what would be really cool? If we all got together and just had every holiday he missed during his time in the army. Just sounded like a really cool idea. So one of the things we had was a Halloween party, and it turned out to be a graduation party for this dude that was graduating from college. So I was Antar the Ice King, and I had my Antar mask, which has appeared in a few videos. I really need to update it a bit. But yes, this is the guy that got me to make the Antar mask, who I am no longer friends with. And you think, after all of that trouble I went through to be a good friend to him, dude just drove me nuts and drove me away. And then now I'm not friends with any of his friends. But I digress. So the first thing I noticed with that is that this costume was actually pretty uncomfortable because that mask was never meant to be worn. I designed it to be fit up on a wall. That's what it was supposed to be for. And it's not something one would want to wear. So the perfect costume, first of all, think comfortability. Thing needs to be comfortable. At some point in time, you're going to need to go to the lavatory. That's English for restroom. You're going to need to do that. So, yeah, remember, you got to move in this thing, you got to sweat in this thing, you got to be able to take this thing off to get on the can without it touching any part of somebody's nasty bathroom. So just as a note, just to be clear, that's how that works. That's how that works. I just hit something, yes. Make your costume something that's going to be comfortable. I mean, as you look at, what's her name? That one cosplayer, Riddle, I think is her name. or Jessica Negri, or those people. What do they do with costumes? They get costumes that are comfortable and yet that they can move around in. So the second thing there obviously would be a certain level of durability. Costumes need to be durable. So yeah, you know, if you're actually going to have fun in that costume, if this isn't just, well, I'm going to take pictures of it, then it needs to be durable, it needs to be comfortable, you need to be able to get out of the thing. That's sort of the way it is. Now, I'm all for the idea of making a costume just to take a picture. That's perfectly cool. You may want to have an advanced version of your costume for taking the picture, and then the more comfortable version you actually walk around the party with. That may be an option there. So yeah, I mean, like I say, I am not going to be wearing a costume for Halloween. I'm just going to be a fat person who hands out candy to a bunch of kids that will not stop asking for it. But for all of you, who enjoyed this video, I guess, the Naked Vlogs are brought to you by the lovely Trisha Hirschberger, who likes to be naked, despite the fact that, you know, let's face it, if people are tuning into this channel because I'm being naked, it'll get a little weird shortly. But that's beside the point. Yes. I'm not having a good day. Anyway, so you can go to Trisha Hirschberger's channel, you can see our rules and see that we're not here to be sexy, but rather to prove that we're honest and open, have nothing to hide. I look like I have a weird sunburn. And, yeah, so I'll put a link in the description to Trisha's video. You can see someone who probably looks a lot better naked than I do. Alrighty, so, yeah. Peace. Question of the week. What's your worst Halloween story? That's what I want to know. Down in the comments below. I'm Richard.